Hi guys, welcome back. Leo McCarthy here, spiritual mentor, Reiki Master, psychic and medium, EFT Tapping practitioner, and shaman. Today I want to talk about that when we're needing to do something, or we have, let's say, a new change coming in our life that maybe might be out of our control, or something that we want to do, but there's hesitation. We don't have to have everything figured out in order to start, or we don't have to have everything figured out in order to get through it. So, a lot of times, the need that we feel to have everything figured out is based on fear, and we get a lot of anxiety around doing things that seem to be added to our plate on top of everything else that's going on. It could be something new we want to do, but we're not sure if we have time, or it could be something that needs to be done, but we might be worried about maybe doing it in the best way possible and worry that the way we might do it, people might judge us. And so I'll give you an example. So, my wife and I are very involved with raising our granddaughter, and she's about 15 months old. And my wife and I, this is the first time trying to raise a toddler and a baby. Like, we had made the decision years ago that my wife knew that she didn't want to go through pregnancy. She didn't want to have a baby. And that just wasn't in her plan. And, circumstances changed over the years. And our granddaughter was born. And through helping our daughter manage her mental health, with her being a new mom and this being brand new to her, um, we've kind of stepped in, and we have a major role in my granddaughter's life. And we're very much involved with raising her. And, you know, we didn't know what we were doing necessarily. We weren't used to getting up in the middle of the night. We weren't used to changing diapers. We, as our granddaughter is growing and moving through from like her infant stages to toddler stages, a lot of changes are happening, and a lot more things that need to be done to kind of keep her growing healthy and keeping her safe. A lot of you probably can relate to having toddlers. Like, this was the first time like we had to consider baby proofing. And I know there's a lot of you out there that can relate to this and probably laugh about it because you might have been through this more than once, maybe two or three times with toddlers, or maybe dealing with this right now. But, you know, we have a lot of anxiety, and in me personally, I have a lot of anxiety where I feel protective of my granddaughter, and I want to do things correctly. I want to keep her safe, and I want to make sure she doesn't get hurt. But I can exhaust myself in trying to think of every little thing that could go wrong, or every little thing that I might not possibly do in the best way. And while I'm ruminating on that, I'm kind of missing out on being present sometimes. And I might be missing the point of just going through life and watching her grow up and be part of my granddaughter's experience. And so we've kind of learned, and I'm still learning myself, that, you know, I don't have to have everything figured out, but, whether you're a single parent or you have a partner, fortunately, my wife and I are partners in this, and we try to just day by day kind of figure out our roles and figure out who's going to do this, who's going to do that, who's going to be responsible for that today, or who's going to be responsible for that in the next couple hours. And so it takes a lot of communication, and it takes a lot of setting expectations that are realistic, for each other and for ourselves. Um, we do our best, and we just kind of have to move through life and just be curious of what's coming and then respond to what comes, and just do our best, utilize our resources that we have available to us, like our granddaughter's doctors, her other caregivers with daycare, etc., supporting her mom, my daughter, and just we all kind of work together. And it isn't always perfect. And it doesn't mean, because not everything's perfect and not everything's going maybe the way you want it to, it doesn't mean you're failing at it either. And so, this need or this fear or this anxiety for wanting to do everything the right way, or feeling the need to have everything perfect so nothing happens, is not realistic. And so we go through life, and we go through challenges, we go through lessons, ourselves. And the same thing is for my granddaughter. Even though she's a toddler, she has her own lessons and challenges that, are part of her growing up. And part of that growing up is kind of letting her experience these challenges sometimes. And at the same time, keeping her as safe as we can. But we can't prevent everything. We can't prevent her always from falling down, bumping her head. Um, we can't always keep her from making a mess, right? And so I think it's just, we have to take a little pressure off ourselves and just know that we are enough and we are doing enough, and just have good intentions that we have the best intentions, and sometimes when we're faced with these new challenges or these new things that we've never done before, these wounds and these triggers of these wounds pop up in us regarding being good enough or being enough, and, doing things correctly. Because, in our life at some point, maybe, you know, we might have been criticized about doing things a certain way or not doing things a certain way. And this kind of conditioned us into kind of overthinking and being really critical of ourselves and even judging ourselves before anyone else is judging us. And so we have to kind of show ourselves a little compassion and just be a little kinder to ourselves, and just sometimes take one day at a time, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need help, because just asking for help doesn't mean you're failing. And if you go back, I recorded another video on why we don't ask for help, and that would be a good video for you to listen to figure out like what is behind like maybe the emotional struggle of why in the first place we might not go and ask for help with something or help with doing something or whatever it is. So I just wanted to talk a little bit today about just being a little kinder to ourselves and taking some pressure off of trying to think of every little possible thing to do correctly. And instead of that, making room for being present more often to being in the moments so that we're not missing those moments. And, like as far as my granddaughter's concerned, allowing her to learn and grow through her lessons in life as growing up. And also, you know, me and my wife growing as like parental guardians and grandparents to my granddaughter and having major role involved with raising her, and just knowing that we have the best intentions, we're doing the best job we can, and to just the best thing we can do is support each other, ask for help when we need it, set boundaries when we need to, and just again have a little compassion for ourselves. So I'm hoping this just gives you something to think about and helps you be a little bit kinder, maybe reduce some of the anxiety and the pressure that you're putting on yourselves, and maybe think about sharing this with someone that you might think is maybe struggling with themselves, with having a lot of pressure on themselves, with doing things maybe the right way, or they're worried about not doing the best job compared to maybe someone else that they might be comparing themselves to. And that's another thing too, is just try not to compare yourself to others, because we are our own unique persons and people, and we bring something different to our lives and to other people's lives than someone else does. And we have our own unique way and process that we do things. That doesn't mean it's any less effective, or it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. And it's okay if we get feedback from other people about, hey, maybe this is a easier way to do this next time. But even if someone offers constructive feedback, it doesn't mean they're telling us that we're doing a bad job or failing. It just means maybe someone has been through this experience before, and they know what it feels like to go through these lessons, and they're just kind of offering what they've learned from those to maybe make our life a little bit easier along the way. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this, and we'll talk soon. Bye.